Hey everybody, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengals fan on all the major platforms, and I am joined as usual in Cincinnati by Sam Snyder, Primetime Sports Talk. Would you say it was 20 degrees there today?
I'm freezing my tuchus off, Mark. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
well,
lie to you.
it was a brisk. I think we got up to 72 during the day, but it was chilly and windy. It was in the 50s this morning.
I've been in California long enough that that spending 3 weeks in Cincinnati is like, okay, here we go.
Ooh. All right, but we are here. Sam, tell me where they can find all your stuff.
Sure, you can find me on Twitter at Buy and Sell You. I write for Primetime Sports Talk. You can find us at Talk Primetime or primetimesportstalk.com.
All right, we are going to preview the Week 15 game, Monday nighter, Bengals hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! And usually Steeler Week, I don't know about you. I'm not looking forward to this game. I'm not looking forward to being on Monday night. I mean, we're gonna go through the good and the bad, things we're feeling good about, things we're not feeling good about. And I just started you off with two. I'm not feeling good about the Steelers losing 2 in a row and being pissed. I'm not feeling good about the Steelers most likely coming into our house and clinching the division. I'm not feeling good about that. I mean, thankfully, it'll only be in front of a few thousand fans, but don't need to see that on prime time. Once again, we're the get right team. I'm not feeling good about the Steeler pass rush with our offense. So, I mean, there's a lot of meat right there on the bone. Chew away.
Yeah, and we're recording this a day earlier than we usually do. It's Wednesday evening as opposed to Thursday, so we don't have much of an injury report. There's a couple things that came out in the press conference, but yeah, I agree, man. How do you get jazzed up for this? You can, when you're a fan of a football team, you always have that little bit in your head of like, wouldn't it be great if we won this game? But I don't think any of us think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I've looked at Twitter, I've looked at Facebook, and I've just watched people saying, anybody looking forward to this game Monday night? It's like our ineptitude is going to be on full display for the entire country to see. And then we have Brandon Allen, who left the last week's game hurt. So, I mean, we all know Ryan Finley comes in. Well, he's the human sack. I mean, he's going to stand back there, and the first thing he's going to do is go into his little turtle shell and try to, it's.
Yeah, and they'll be really aggressive with that rush. They will.
Oh yeah.
Regardless of who's back there. And Brandon Allen, for the record, Zach said in the Tuesday presser, said he's technically day to day. It's basically a knee contusion. It's a really deep knee bruise that's still super tight. So who knows? But like you said, Finley is the sack taker, and then and then we've got Kevin Hogan, who we just signed to the practice squad a couple weeks ago,
who's got to be so looking forward to getting in there and see TJ Watt and Hayward and all those guys.
Well,
Tuitt was reactivated off of the COVID list. So
yeah, well, I mean, what I thought was interesting is well, what if they pull Hogan off the practice squad and start him ahead of Finley?
That would
like, if you're Ryan Finley at that point, you just throw your hands up and say, it's time to quit football.
Well, he should quit football just because he doesn't have any talent, but that's a whole other thing. I mean, we've already said he's not qualified to be a third stringer. Of course, the Bengals had him as their second string, but it's I can't get excited about this game. I'm just dreading it. Like I said, with the pass rush, I just don't see any way the Bengals are even remotely competitive in this game. I mean, the Steelers would have to come in and completely implode on a level that's Buffalo and Washington to the 10th power. They would have to implode. Because even if you gift wrap stuff, the defense could hold us to field goals. I mean, we just don't have the personnel, the coaching, anything to compete in this game. And I know NBC, we were just talking about this Monday night during that amazing Baltimore-Cleveland game, which was one of the most entertaining games I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, me too.
During that game, you said it was a couple times you think they mentioned the game. They usually will constantly tell you about the game next week. They never said anything. I mean, I can remember one time them indirectly mentioning that they have the Steelers Bengal game next week, but this is one that NBC or ESPN would love to flex out of. Unfortunately, you can't flex out of the Monday games. I don't think you're going to see Cincinnati in a Monday game next year. I know they're stuck with us on a Thursday night, but I think they're going to stick to maybe slotting us for a Sunday night game that they can flex out of down the year, because this is not a game the network wanted. This is a game you're going to have to stay up late, being back in Cincinnati, just to do our wrap-up show. But it's one of those, you know, I don't know. I just don't have anything. I don't. There's so much bad. I don't have anything good. I have one thing to say, and then you can tell me if this is what you were expecting me to say. We don't talk before the show. We kind of give innuendos and hints and stuff. But I said I've got one thing. The one feeling good about thing I have to say. I said Zach and the staff will be on full display for the entire country to see. Possibly, maybe this lights a fire into the Browns and the Blackburns. If they're humiliated on national television on a Monday night, maybe this speeds up the process to where this staff is gone at the end of the year. That's the only positive thing I could come up with, genuinely come up with, about this game. Am I wrong?
Not entirely. I mean, you know, we have talked before about how you know, we think that not having Burrow and not having Mixon is something that the coaches are going to try to point at and say, yeah, but we didn't have those guys. Because I think you'd agree that we'd at least win a couple more games if we had Burrow this season. I'm not saying we would have had a great season or we'd have been 500 or anything like that.
We wouldn't. We maybe would have pulled out the Washington game.
Yeah.
We maybe would have pulled out Miami. Miami's defense is pretty good, but we probably, I think Burrow wins the Washington game. Maybe there's one or two more wins. Does that save their job? I don't think it should, but yeah, this is a, he can point to that and say, you know, this is his excuse. Oh, I didn't have Burrow all year. I don't think it would have mattered. We can see where this team isn't going. And comment of the week, I have to put this out there on Twitter. I don't remember who tweeted this. You can check my feed, but it was something about Zach saying, we're going to turn the corner. We're on the verge of turning the corner. And someone tweeted back to me saying they've been turning the corner since week 4 of last year. So, I mean, at what point do you guys just say, hey, we're not going to turn the corner?
And the other one, the other soundbite was in his presser when he said, you know, pretty soon we're going to do some pretty unbelievable things.
Yeah.
And that's another one where you could respond by saying, well, you've been doing some pretty unbelievable things this season.
I think my response, because I did that sound, I tweeted that out, and I said something about there'll be unbelievable things, but you won't be the coach when that happens. So that was pretty much the gist of what I tweeted out. But that's the only positive. Do you have anything positive?
Yeah,
to chew on and say, oh, okay, that's something good. So
I do, and it's all stat based. So obviously it's not performance based. It's not like I can point to it and say we're going to take advantage of that. But you know, in the Pittsburgh is having a really hard time running the ball this year. I mean, a really hard time. In those last two losses, they ran for 21 total yards against Washington and 47 against Buffalo. Against us, when we played, you know, back on November 15th, I think they had 44 total rushing yards, and that's against us, man. So, and at the same time, they're also giving up a lot of yards. We had 139 in the first meeting. Of course, 39 of that was on the Sean Williams fake, but but regardless, teams have found success running the ball against them. And you know, here's broken record take of the week. We got to try to run the ball. Why are we not trying to run the ball? You've got these garbage quarterbacks back there. You've got to try, even if you think they're going to stack the box, you still got to try. You know what I mean?
Right. And you also want to protect.
If Gio drops the ball, don't bench him. Right. For crying out loud.
He claims that the plan was to rotate the running backs, but it sure looked like that he benched Gio because he was angry. And to me, that was when a guy fumbles for the first time in 800 and some odd carries, which is, I don't know how many years that was since he fumbled. You can't do that. You just, I disagree. And I've read multiple articles from people that have also got the same take we had and have said the same thing, that was crazy if you actually did that. But
we're gonna have to convert a third down this time too.
That was the other thing I was going to point out. No, 0 for 13 on third down
Mm-hmm.
conversions the last time we played, and we had Burrow then.
Yeah.
We had the threat of the pass and a viable quarterback, and we were 0 for 13. So here, whether it's Allen or Finley or Hogan,
hope not.
I don't know.
Actually, I don't know who to hope for of these three guys.
I almost, you know what? I almost want to just line up in the Wildcat and just play the Wildcat the whole game.
Right.
One of the things it would do is it would protect our receivers, because if you watch Finley, Allen's gotten better over the last couple weeks of not getting his receivers in harm's way, but Finley is notorious for just hanging the ball out there. T. Higgins is going to get killed. Or
and Allen is going to
get killed.
And Allen, before he went down last week, had I mean, it wasn't magnificent, but it was definitely his best game of the season.
Sure.
He was like 23 of 40 for 217 yards, had a touchdown, didn't throw a pick. So he was showing some signs of turning the corner, but that wasn't the Pittsburgh pass rush either. So
No.
And if he's hobbled at all on that knee and he's any less mobile than he already is, I mean, frankly, just at the end of this game, I just hope there's still like one quarterback standing.
Like I said, I'm more concerned. My bigger concern is that one of our marquee receivers gets blown up.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. The only other thing that I hate to call it a positive, I don't wish injuries on anybody. But part of the reason Pittsburgh's been struggling is because they're really banged up.
Oh yeah.
And it's not necessarily guys missing a whole lot of time, although some are. They just put one of their guards, I think his name is Filer, on the IR today or yesterday. They've got Chukwuma, Okorafor. He's banged up. Terrell Edmonds is day to day. James Conner's got a quad issue. Not that he's been running the ball real well anyway. And Joe Hayden missed last week with a concussion.
Yeah, he's still in concussion protocol. It'd be good if he wasn't in, but
this is a pretty, especially considering he gets that extra day,
right?
To get right. I imagine that he'll be back, and that was some of the problems they were having. And on our side, obviously, Gino went on the IR finally with the shoulder issue that he's been battling all season long, which is good for him to get the surgery now instead of waiting until the off season.
Right.
And who knows, you and I were talking, who knows if he's going to be back in a Bengals uniform or not.
Yeah, we both were discussing that I read that it was 2.6 million each year. He's got 2 years left on his contract, about 30 million total owed, but there would be dead money of 2.6 each year. You read 5.2 1 year and 2.6 the next.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, I mean, when you compare that to the 30 million that he would make over those 2 years, then it's chump change regardless.
Yeah, you can't keep him. The only thing I would suggest is if you're going to take the $7.5 million cap hit, why not offer him, 10 million for 2 years, 5 million a year, because you're already going to be eating 3 point something anyway. See something like that. I don't think he gets more than that out there in the open market, and you have him for depth and everything, and maybe the old Gino returns. Certainly you don't keep him for 15 million a year. Just like if AJ Green comes back next year, it's going to be on a team friendly deal. We're not,
back.
The 18, but the 18 million is not.
AJ Green is gone. He's gone.
Well, we're going to see what this team. Who knows if Zach Taylor comes back? There's going to be you're going to have half the fan base going into next year with their head hanging. So we don't know.
I got news for you. I think they're gonna.
Well, wouldn't surprise you, but
I mean, I wouldn't
literally be wasting another year of Joe Burrow's rookie deal if we bring this staff back.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a few changes on this staff, but when you give Zach Taylor the contract that he got for the number of years that he got, it clearly was kind of I want to have a 3-year plan to get rid of the people I don't want, bring in the people that I do want. Not coach wise, but personnel on the field.
But it doesn't. If he keeps,
again, it's a conversation.
Turner, what are we going to do?
it's conversation for another day. But if they do bring him back and it looks just like this again, I don't think he'll survive next year.
Well, he shouldn't survive this year. So we'll see what happens. All right. Well, with that said, go ahead. What's your prediction?
Oh boy. Okay, so we lost 36-10 in the first one. I'm gonna make it a little bit closer this time. 34-13.
34-13. I had, you know what? I had, if Brandon Allen plays, I had 38-13.
Mm-hmm.
If Brandon Allen doesn't play,
I almost did that too.
Okay, if Brandon Allen doesn't play, you know, we could be in the 40s for them.
I think so.
And we could maybe have a field goal. Maybe we get a turnover, they hold us 3 and out, and we kick a field goal just to get the goose egg off the board. But I have a feeling this team is pissed. This team's out for blood. This team hates us to begin with. They'd like nothing more than to come in and, drop a 50 on us.
It's even worse than that. They don't hate us. They just don't care about us.
Right.
They don't care about us at all.
Well,
like we hate them, and they're just like, whatever, dude.
But over the last few years, we're nothing.
Right.
So, you know, they're constantly contending. Worst record Tomlin's ever had is 500.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Jack Taylor on his 2 consecutive 2-14 seasons, it looks like.
Right.
And they've got a guy who has never been worse than 8-8.
I should mention that I said 34-13. A lot of it was looking at, you know, the points for and points against that these two teams have scored and allowed this season. And then I kind of inflated it a little bit in opposite directions. But I will say this, if some of these guys on the Steelers are not quite right by that game, or are game time decisions or something like that, I could see them scoring a little less, just because they're going to say, let's just control the ball and get the heck out of here.
Right.
And go home and rest.
Yeah.
And let's try to make this a 2-hour and 15-minute football game.
Well, they have Indy and Cleveland to finish. And if Cleveland had won the other night, then Cleveland really would have been in the driver's seat to try to steal the division, because the two meet in the final week of the season. I think if Cleveland wins, maybe they had the tiebreaker, or you get into who knows what multiple tiebreakers. And Indy's going to need their game, so they're going to play the Steelers tough.
Yeah.
So I'll be rooting for Indy in week 16, and then hopefully the Browns can steal. I'd love to see the Browns steal this division, and not the Steelers would go from 11-0 start to winning the North.
But they can't, unless you honestly think that we're going to beat them first.
No. If they lost to Indy next week, and then Cleveland has to win out, and then Cleveland would tie with them, and I don't know how the tiebreakers play out. So,
but when Pittsburgh beats us on Monday, they clinch the division.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so they have the tiebreaker. You're right. So then.
Well, it's going to be a fun one to watch.
Cleveland will probably win week 17 then, because they'll be resting all their players in week 17.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's a big seeding involvement.
The Chiefs would have to melt down and give up the 1 seed, which I don't see them doing. So Andy Reid is too good a coach to let that happen. So I don't see that. So with that, I'm sorry we don't have cheery things to say. You can tune in. There's plenty of other shows that will blow smoke up where and tell you you've got a puncher's chance. I got to tell you, I don't even think we have a puncher's chance in this. I really don't.
I don't either. And if you do, if you think we do, why don't you lay it down in the comments? Let's
please tell me if you think we're wrong. Tell us we're wrong. You're wrong. The Bengals are going to win, and here's why. I'd love to see it. I don't see it. We're real guys here. We tell it like it is, and I'm not looking forward to Monday. That's all I can say. The best thing about it is tomorrow night I get to actually watch the game. And
because we're recording a day early.
And on Sunday I could put a work like I usually do, watch sports, and I'll put on the Red Zone channel and have it on all day and see that. I don't usually get to, because we're glued to the exciting Bengal games. So
and then coming up to record right after.
And then coming up to record. So that's the most positive thing. That, and like I said, maybe this lights a fire. That would be the silver lining, would be to lose like 50-3 and have the Blackburns get so disgusted and so embarrassed that they actually did something about getting rid of the staff. So we'll see.
Good luck with that.
You know what? It's a little dream. I'm not trying to feed the hungry of the world. I'm not going to try to figure out world peace. You know, I just want a new coaching staff. Somebody put on our comments, thank you for this comment. All I want for Christmas is a GM and a new coaching staff.
Right.
And I said, me too. I don't remember how I responded, but it was definitely we're sharing a brain kind of response.
Right.
So, all right. Well, we will be back Monday night late after the massacre, and we will go through everything, and it'll be what it'll be. Have a good week, everybody. Subscribe. If you don't subscribe, please do hit the subscribe button. Check out Sam's stuff on Primetime Sports Talk, and we will go from there. And I will say, hoo day, everybody.
Who they?
Take care.